and shot one of his former co-workers in the head.
This story is crazy. This is super gremlin rapper Kodak Black, who's got millions of followers on YouTube and a number of top 10 hits. He's collaborated with Travis Scott, Bruno Mars, Gucci Mane, Kendrick Lamar, and more. He was even pardoned by Trump in the final hours of his presidency back in 2021 after being sentenced to 4 years in prison for making a false statement to buy a firearm. He served half his sentence before Trump intervened. Here's the two meeting at Mar-a-Lago. Gross. And now he's once again finding himself in trouble with the law. It all went down Thursday morning when cops say they saw a black Bentley blocking the road. The window of the car was halfway down, and inside they found Kodak asleep in the driver's seat with a strong smell of weed in the car and a styrofoam cup that smelled like alcohol. But wait, there's more. When cops made Kodak get out of the car, he allegedly turned his back to them, seemingly trying to hide something, and that's when cops say they saw white powder falling on the ground next to him. Then cops noticed his mouth was full of white powder, which they tested on the scene, and it came back positive for cocaine. But Kodak allegedly said it was Percocet. Does that make it better? He was arrested for cocaine possession, tampering with evidence, and violating his existing probation. Addiction is a serious disorder, and Kodak said he's had trouble staying clean in the past. If you need help, please seek out a community to help you get or stay sober. There are traditional 12-step meetings like AA and Narcotics Anonymous, but also newer groups that aren't spiritual, like Recovery Dharma, which emphasizes Buddhist principles, and Smart Recovery, which is built on cognitive behavioral therapy. Don't suffer, get sober, and know that people are literally waiting to help you.
So if you know what I'm saying, dealing with drugs, opioids, anything like that can really mess your health up. Like me, I take blood pressure pills. I can't even take, you know what I'm saying, controlled substance because my body rejects it. And the pain that I'm feeling, I wish I could. But then again, I don't like that feeling. You know, I'd rather do the marijuana anyway. But if you out here struggling like this guy with drugs and coke and perks, all that type of stuff, like Drew said from Notice News, Notice Explain and Notice News, there's always somebody out there to talk to that's willing to help you. And don't think that just because they're trying to know more about your addiction and your problem, that they trying to know your business and work against you, because that is not what they out here for. So please, get help.
This video is wild, and heads up, the footage may be upsetting. In Southern California, a man is seen on surveillance camera inside a store and is believed to be stealing 2 beers. A 911 caller then gets a hold of police about the man, saying he threatened to hit her. Police soon find the guy on the sidewalk.
Let me get additional units. Subject is walking away.
Police see the guy with a beer in one hand and a brick in the other.
Come here. Look, it's just a beer, bro. Come here. You don't want to make this worse than it already is. Put the brick down.
Cops say they asked the guy to drop the brick, seen here, at least 10 times, but he refused to do it. Moments later, backup rolls in, and the guy comes to a stop on the sidewalk.
Get on the ground, drop it. Drop the brick. Drop the brick.
That's when the guy takes the brick and hurls it at a police officer. The cop responds with gunfire, and the man is struck. Police render first aid and get him to a hospital, where the 31-year-old man ended up dying. According to the Washington Post, more than 1,000 people are killed every year by police. And 2023 is no exception, with the Post reporting more than 1,000 fatal police shootings to date, and a trend line that looks to surpass last year's body count. This all went down back in August, and the California Department of Justice is still investigating to determine whether the shooting was lawful, and the local PD is investigating too.
So that was real crazy. I don't understand why he threw a brick at the police officers, knowing how trigger happy they are. Like, it would have been nice if they was like that one lady who had the motherfucking taser, who was tasing that black guy for no reason when she had him handcuffed and detained. Yeah, if y'all want to shoot something, y'all need to start shooting them goddamn tasers more than guns, because he had a brick. I mean, you can left, right, move when he starts to throwing and get to flying towards you. You ain't have to go ahead and shoot him. You know, it's like, are you trigger happy where you want to kill somebody? And you clearly see he got mental issues throwing a brick with a beer in his hand at an officer, a law officer at that.
This story out of Indiana is infuriating. This is 17-year-old Drew Gardner. Up until recently, he worked at a Kentucky Fried Chicken about 15 minutes southeast of Indianapolis. That's where police say in late November, an ex-employee who had just been fired returned to the KFC parking lot that same day and shot one of his former co-workers in the head. Drew held a napkin up against the gunshot wound until the cops got there, and the man was taken to the hospital in serious but stable condition. The teen was initially hailed as a hero for helping save his co-worker's life, but rather than having been commended by KFC, he's now out of a job.
I was a bit bummed out because I considered most of those people there my friends. But I feel like, I don't know, it just feel like a bit like a betrayal in a sense.
The store closed after the shooting, but a few days later, Drew's mom noticed it was open and told local news she went inside to talk to the manager.
I did approach her to talk privately in the back to kind of go over some things about what happened. She refused to go in the back. We had to do it in the lobby in front of customers. It did get heated between her and I.
That's when the cops were called and an officer spoke to both of them.
He did go inside to retrieve the paperwork for Drew's workman's comp. He came out, he said, unfortunately, she wanted me to communicate to you that your son is no longer needed here, and this is considered trespassing for you.
The owner of the KFC franchise, however, says Drew was never terminated. Drew nevertheless feels like he did the right thing.
I feel like a life is worth more than a job. So I'd rather lose my job than have him die.
The 24-year-old ex-KFC worker who shot his former colleague faces a felony charge of aggravated battery. After the KFC reopened after this all went down, local news also says the store ended up closing within a day because it was dirty.
Man, that's crazy for the simple fact this dude saved his life and these folks want to play with his employment the way they was playing with it. And you know what? FKFC, you don't need them. Just for the simple fact they got shut down for being so dirty. So, bruh, you don't want to work in a dirty ass environment anyway, because you'll mess around and catch something you can't get rid of, or you gotta be dealing with it for the rest of your life. And your blessings gonna come because God see you trying to do right. You feel me?